You guys ready? Okay. Welcome everybody to our wealth series. This is on flipping properties. One of the things that I love about Keller Williams' opportunity to get together and learn from each other. And so you see that 3 of our panelists are Keller Williams agents. And then we have Bia. Oh, no. You have to eat it. I have to eat it like this. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Okay, so a couple years back, I joined the wealth community for Keller Williams International. And one of the things that I noticed that a lot of the people that are being really successful at not only their real estate business, but also their flipping business, well, the real estate business, the flipping business was feeding their real estate business because they were sending out postcards and things like that. And then if somebody, they would offer on the house, like, this is what I can do cash now, but if you want, we can list it, kind of thing. And so I saw that they were being able to generate business from that for their real estate sales side, but also for their flipping business. And they were doing really well. So I have a little video of somebody that is in the wealth community that's being really successful. And he's doing something that I don't know anybody around here is doing, but I'm sure somebody in the community is doing it. And that is, he's flipping manufactured homes. Who? I don't. Oh, okay. So there are people doing it for sure. So I'm going to go to my Facebook. So this is this guy right here is Gregory Tran, and he and Nick right here are both in the wealth community for Keller Williams, and Nick is interviewing Gregory is interviewing Nick because Nick is the one that's flipping these manufactured homes. So let's see if we can get some volume on this.
At cost-effective ways, transported down a highway correctly, and then installed. Lots of times you have poor materials, so those single pane windows that are not the greatest quality. So what I do when I flip homes, when there's enough margin, I want to insulate that home. I want to add the double pane windows, all those things that make a home more permanent. A mobile home,
He's going to get to the
it's
number.
more like a mobile anchor. The moment that it's set, it typically does not move for the rest of its life. So once it's in that spot, then you can add all the weight that you want to it, adding in the flooring, your stone countertops, things like that. When you walk in, it does not feel like a mobile home. It feels like a site-built home.
Why is it important that it's leased land?
It is our niche that few people do in Maricopa County in Arizona. Understanding the nuances of leased land, understanding that it's a vehicle, it has a VIN number. Getting a loan for that is different than your typical loan programs.
How many of these mobile home flips do you do?
We are right around 50, and I started in 2022.
Walk me through a typical deal. How much does it cost?
Maybe I spend $30,000 on a home, flip it for $35,000, sell it for $90,000.
$25,000 profit and 65 spent. That seems like a good ROI.
Yeah, and that's basic. This is a fun example. We bought this home about 14 months ago, maybe 13 months ago. And I think we bought it for $40,000. We rehabbed it probably for about $35,000. We sold it for $135,000.
Holy crap. What's your investment of choice?
Flipping mobile homes.
Okay. So I just wanted to say the numbers can be great, even in tiny things that we don't think are worth much, right? We see a home as, oh, that's only 40,000 even on the MLS, right? And you look at that home and you have to see what the potential of that home is, just like all of these flippers here have to look at that. Okay. First, we're going to start off introducing everybody. This is Andrea Bonney. Andrea, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to flip homes?
Sure. I'm still like a baby agent is what I call myself. I'm a toddler agent. I've only been an agent for 18 months. So, as soon as I got licensed, probably within like 30 days, I knew I wanted to flip a house. So I just have always loved it. I love design. I have vision of things. I wanted to make extra money. And like she said, it's an avenue for all streams of income, right? On the listing side, on the buying side. get to know tons of vendors, which are great for them, my own clients, which has been fantastic as well, like building those relationships. So yeah, I just loved it and I knew I wanted to do it. So
Okay, great. How about you, Bia? This is Bia. Bia, introduce yourself.
I think, yeah. Is this okay? Yeah, it works. You almost have to swallow it, but it was working. My name is Bia Patzner. I moved from China, like the People's Republic of China, not the China, California. There's a China, California, I heard. Here, my husband's company is headquartered here. I've always been an interior designer and a remodeler. My business abroad, because of the nature of the countries I lived in, was always a BRRRR method, like buy, rehab, repeat, and sell, but with an L, which was lease, rehab, repeat, and rent, right? So I've been doing that for many, many, many years. I would say 25 years. I lived in 7 countries in 3 different continents doing that. And then when I came from China here, I had already come to see Salt Lake in 2018. And I took a course on real estate investing here. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of potential because there's a lot of beauty here and a lot of houses to remodel. So I never focused on new builds, but remodels. And then, well, how am I going to start remodeling here? So I joined Slaria, Utaria. I even forgot lots of little networking groups where there were investors because I really didn't want to be an agent. That's not the part that I like. I do like interior design, but again, you can't start doing interior design in a new country for you when you don't know anybody, like a carrot, right? I didn't know anybody, and my husband's family, the closest is Wisconsin. So that was like, oh, I cannot even tap there. So I met, this is why I give opportunity to a lot of people. I met a person called Mike Baird. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was, I think, up to 2014, the flipman of Salt Lake City. He had a TV show. And I happened to stumble upon him giving a talk in a location like this. I think it was Slaria, actually. And he was talking about mentoring people to flip. And this still is a big thing. Everybody wants to mentor somebody on flipping houses. And then he touched on design. And then I could have just died with everything he was saying. So very gently, and he's such a lovely person. He is very, very nice man. I went to him on the sidelines after the event. I said, you cannot say that. This doesn't work. Here's my card. I'm new here. If you need anything, talk to me. And here is your challenge. Here's my solution. Very quickly, I pitched myself to him. 3 months later, he had 11 mentees. He was burning because these people bought a program from him where he didn't have any solution for after he's a good at layout. After you do the layout, what do you do, right? And then he says, well, you have to do pro bono. I'm like, okay, you have to pay for something if you want to start something. So I did 37 properties for his 11 mentees altogether. And then after that, that was great for me because then I could say, I hate this styler, I like this styler. And then I formed my own team. And then I started doing my own homes and homes for other clients. Then it was easy to jump back into servicing people because then I knew already. So basically, this is my story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. How about you, Shirley?
I can't beat that. I'm like, wow, I want to know more. Yeah. I'm Shirley Rickman. I have been a realtor for 32 years and I was going to retire. And then Andrea makes me cry because she wanted to, she's my daughter-in-law. And so, sorry, we're partners and she wanted to take over my business. And so I was so excited because I was going to retire.
she's still gonna. She's still gonna, but we just wanted to start another business really fast, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna let her retire after that.
Yeah, so anyway, she said, let's flip houses. Okay, so here I am swamped. But we love it.
Awesome. Okay. How about you, Josh?
I'm Josh Jorgensen, and I think I'm the opposite of most of the panel up here. So I'm the weirdo that is, I call myself an opportunistic flipper. So over the years, my real estate business is actually the vice versa. I don't use flips as a pillar of my business. I use them as an extension of my business. And so I've been flipping for 7 years now. I do about 2 flips a year, but they have to be an opportunistic flip. And so I usually find my flips through my clients, and when people need to sell a house, and I do that. And then my big goal is not to flip 100 homes. My goal is just to teach my boys how to work. So I use my boys. So I have 3 boys that are 16, 14, and 12. At 7 years old, my baby JJ was texturing walls. My middle boy Luke can plumb a house, and my oldest boy can roof, and he can do it all. So I do a lot of work myself. I don't, focus too much on, you know, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yes. So what I love about the diversity we have up here is everybody goes about it differently for different reasons. And one person might want to flip like 20 houses in a year, and somebody else is really happy just doing 2. And the way that they source them is going to be different, right? Because you're not going to run across that many clients and find 20 houses. But if you have clients in the real estate business, and Josh, can you tell us like how do those 2 a year come about for you when you're just talking to people?
So typically, so I sell anywhere from 25 to 40 homes a year. It's kind of my thing. So I call it being in the mountains, right? And I call it the hunter mentality, right? So I love to go for a hike, and then magically a beautiful deer crosses my path, right? So when that deer, that's the opportunity for me. So typically I'm in a listing presentation. Maybe I walk into the home and the home is not great, right? Or I've flipped brand new homes actually by just finishing a basement. So there's always something in that home that I say when I give them the list of like, hey, here's some improvements I would make. I always go through and say, hey, if you made these improvements in your house, I think you could potentially be at this price point when you sell your home. Now you look at the spectrum of people out there in this world, right? Everything about real estate is on a spectrum. And so there's some people that are like, I have no desire to do any of that stuff. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, it's about $100,000 difference. If you really don't want to do the property, like I could give you this amount of money for your house and you can just walk away and I'll just do the improvements. And are you okay if I make the money? And they're like, yeah, we just want to get out of our house. So that's how I find, I would say 90% of my flip projects.
Okay, awesome. You'll need a microphone though. We are recording.
Do you, how am I going to say this? Do you make sure that you're going to make more than you would make if you had just sold it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here.
Because I've done a couple and I feel like I would make very similar amount if I would sold it and made commission.
100%. And here's the thing is my heart, like for my clients, my heart is more important than how much money I'm going to make. And so there's some situations where I've taken a project and I knew it was going to be a lot of work for not a lot of money. And I've done the work because I got to involve my boys, my buddies are contractors. Like you got to also remember, like for me, it's about community, right? And so if my buddy's struggling as a contractor and he needs work, and then I'm like teaching my boys, and there's some, and then there's situations where like I got single moms that need to get out of their house. Like right now, I've got 2 homes that I would love to flip their homes and would be able to do it. Just my life at home right now is a little weird. So I can't do that. But like there's situations where I've got people that are like, I'm getting a divorce. We've actually waited to the last second to get our house on the market. We have to get the house sold in 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, I'll take that house. Right. And I'll help them out or whatever it is. But if like my buddy's like, hey, dude, I'm struggling with work right now. There's some times where I would take a home and just give him the work because he really needs the work.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I try to make as much money as possible, but at the end of the day, it's not about the money for me. It's about a lot of other things.
Okay, great. Okay, let's go to Shirley. Where are you finding your properties? How are you finding your properties?
Well, it just depends. At first, we were doing a lot of searching on the MLS, and we realized that not everything is going to come from the MLS. But once we started joining groups and different things, got to know different investors, different realtors, we actually had people start bring us deals, which was nice. And so not all of them are deals, so you have to be real careful with that. But you can, break it down and figure it out. So that's pretty much it. You
Mhm.
can do a lot of things like knock on doors in areas that look like they need help, and you might be able to find some that way as well. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
Mhm. Okay. Any questions? Yes. Let's get a microphone. You want to hold on a second? Let me get you a microphone.
What groups did you join?
We joined Utah Valley RIA, so it's Real Estate Investing Association. And then we joined Salt Lake RIA also. They have all kinds of meetings, luncheons, dinners, all that stuff. And it's really nice to kind of mingle with people that are doing the same thing that you want to be doing. So joined quite a few Facebook pages to get more ideas. And it sounds like you mentioned some places that other groups that you've joined too.
The same.
The
It's
same. Okay, yeah. Those kinds of things. And if anything that says investor on it, join it, because then you're going to meet a whole new crowd and learn a lot from all those people. So,
Okay, thanks.
mm,
Again, I'm the opposite guy. And here's my caveat to joining a group, right? So before I was a realtor, my brother-in-law was like, dude, I'm a house flipper. I'm an investor, is what he was saying, right? So he invited me to this investors group. Okay. And we went there and they're like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Join our group. It's $20,000 and we're going to find you 1 million flips and you're going to be part of our amazing group. Now there are some quality groups out there, right? You know who, yeah, exactly. Right. So I would encourage you to do your research, right? If you're paying money to enjoy some of these benefits of these groups, be careful. I call it the 49er mentality, right? So if you remember everything I do, right, is I love history, but in 1849, when the San Francisco gold rush happened, right? Who made the most amount of money? It wasn't the miners that did the work, right? There's a lot of people that are going to sell you a lot of programs and they're going to sell you a membership. And there's a lot of people that do that, right? So my one caveat to that is, hey, be very specific in who you do it. So if there is somebody like, if you're like, hey, I'm thinking about joining this group, make sure you talk to a couple of people that have joined the group, or because if there's a commission involved with you joining that group, just know.
I don't know if this is working, but even just like WCR, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but Women's Council of Realtors has
just get
great
closer.
metrics and great
Yes, it does.
avenues to get to know other people. They have great meetings, great education. I mean, we met one of our very best first contractors there. And so we are still, I would say, great friends with him if we could be today. So I think that's a great avenue. And I think you can just come as for free, like as a guest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they meet, it's great. It's great education. There's plenty of women's investment groups. I know there's guys in here too, but yeah, just Google it on Facebook. And yeah, there are plenty of free groups, or, you pay a minimal yearly, but then you go to all the events and that kind of thing, which are great. So yeah, networking is a big part of this business, I think. The more your name is out there, the more people know what you do, the more people are going to call you when they know of a problem or someone needs help, right?
Awesome. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything about that? Nope. Okay. Another question. What are the top 3 improvements all flippers should consider adding to their flips? Who wants to go first?
Well, I can go. Just a side note. I only flip higher end homes. So my niche is I buy them for 600 and up, or mostly 900 and up. And that's my niche. Why? Because there is a know-how in the business of general contracting and interior design to pull off some properties to make them work. So there's so much competition in everything else that I'm like, okay, and after my 37 experiences with mentees from my flipping, I'm like, wow, I couldn't even buy anything because everybody was buying something, right? Yeah. So what I decided to do, I learned that on a very expensive course that I purchased. But if I took anything out of that course, was this, that my partners are realtors. And I make partnerships with realtors and I tell them, this is exactly what I'm looking for. These areas, this point, these problems, blah, blah, blah. And then they bring me the properties. So for me, to answer the top 3 things you can do, and this is my homes, your homes, any home, I would say the curb appeal is one, right? And it's a trick because you can't invest too much, but you cannot not invest anything, right? Because you need to, okay, 421, now it's 890. Oh, what's going on in this house? And then you look and the house at 421 looks the same as the, right? 890, and then you don't get it as a consumer, right? So for me, number 1 is curb appeal, right? And then everybody says kitchens and bathrooms, but I believe it is also the layout, right? Exactly.
I agree with that 100%.
Improve you have like a split level home. How do you improve that split level home? The number 1 thing, remove the wall between the kitchen and the main living, right? So you have to be prepared to do that. So that's the second thing. And the third thing that I think people sometimes consider, sometimes not, but it is for me, for what I do, the number 1 thing I look, who is your buyer? If you are flipping in Liberty Wells, you have to be very creative, even if it's at an entry-level home, right? To push your price a little bit more, because that's all flipping really is, right? You're improving a home and you are offering more value, and you have to be better than somebody else that is competing in price with you in the sale price, right? Because people follow you or you follow other people, right? You're like, oh, how do I price this home? How far can I push that value? Right? So Liberty Wells has the capital area there, Marmalade, they have a specific gender, right? They have a lot of same-sex marriages. They come from other places in the US. It's not your Draper community or your Daybreak community, right? So if you forget or don't remember to think about that, at my price point, I suffer, right? I had other flippers, well, I'm not selling. Well, your home doesn't look like what these people were looking for. So they don't see that value. So you have to lower your price, right? So those are three things that I would highly recommend. Is the curb appeal. Again, improve your layout. There's a lot in that little layout thing, but improve your layout. And the third thing, know whom your buyer is.
Right. I do see a lot of people taking that wall out between the living room and the kitchen. Like they're opening that up to give it more of a modern, open concept, and it seems to be working for them.
Well, yeah, I think for everybody, if you think about yourselves, right? Who wants to be cooking and everybody's watching TV and laughing? And you're like, you know, it's not nice, right? Yeah. What's going on over there?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. What about you, Andrea? What do you think? What do
I
you
think
want?
a lot of the same things. Definitely the layout is a huge thing. Shirley and I have a little inside joke that we like to say we don't buy weird houses. So the weird house on the block is going to be the house that's the least expensive, right? Everyone wants to get rid of it, but then how do we fix it? What do? You can't. There's all these different layers and there's these weird staircases, and so we try to steer clear of weird houses, even though it's probably cheaper and you could flip it, but it's going to be harder to resell it. Windows, I think, is a big thing. I like to look at big windows. We want to have lots of natural light. Having newer, nicer windows in homes is a big thing. Making sure the roof is, like the structural pieces of the home, if it already has new HVAC, if it's already had a sewer scope recently, because we've had water problems or whatever, those big aspects of the houses are big things. Location for Shirley and I think has been a big thing. We've kind of niched as well, like to the east bench of the valley. Don't ask me why. It's probably because we like to shop at Nordstrom's, I guess. But we chunk off big houses just kind of like her as well. So we haven't ever actually flipped a house under 500,000 before either. So should we have started that way? Probably not. We probably should have started a little bit smaller, but what we like is what we like, and we like to do fun design and high-end houses. So definitely the area we try to keep in mind, and where are people going to gravitate to? Where do people want to live? I would say those are the biggest things for me. Okay. Oh yeah, location is huge.
Do you ever buy a house that's on a road with 2 yellow lines down the middle?
Oh yes. Okay, let's talk about that. So we've done that too. We have 2 of them. I don't know. The one isn't so bad as the other one. Would I do it again in the next year? Probably not. Will I do it again someday? Maybe so. Depending on the road. Like 2200 West. Would I buy a house on it? Sure. Am I going to buy a house on Redwood? Hell no. But do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've learned that it's super hard. The problem is it alleviates a lot of buyers, right? It alleviates the family with littles, the elderly who can't get in and out of the driveway. It alleviates, like, it's taking so many people out of the buyer pool that's the most difficult part of the road. So I thought that.
Can I also say something? Another thing this is my impression. Okay, so don't take it very personally. But when I had a home, very lovely home, 1300 South by the zoo becomes, after you pass foothills, becomes St. Mary's. So I had this beautiful home, St. Mary's Way. So it has a little bend that continues to go up. And it has a stop sign here, a stop sign here, and this was the home. But who goes up and down there are just people who actually live there. And I had to take a $200,000 hit. And the realtors are saying, oh, no, this is a lovely home. A hit in the sense that I could have made that money, right? But at the time, I didn't have another buyer, another offer, right? And that's the first thing the realtor brought up to negotiate. I could have just killed that realtor. Well, but it's quiet. Yeah, it's a beautiful location. It's on the fairway of the Bonneville Golf Course.
Nice.
right? Super, super good. There is not even a noise inside the house, and the house is recessed into the lot.
Yeah.
But that was like the negotiating point. So be prepared when you run your after renovation value your numbers to discount for the double yellow line or the stop sign, even though it's a great location. Yeah.
Got a question here.
Money goes.
Okay, say that again.
For money, I don't know if you guys will be willing to share this, but I think it's important if you're thinking about flipping a house. Can you tell me how much the most money you've made profit on one and maybe the least amount of profit you've made on one, or if you've lost money?
I want to ask all of
Oh, I can go first.
Go right ahead.
You want the loss or the profit? Okay, the most amount of money I've made in one sale was 295,000. And the most money I've lost in a sale was 247,000. You have to have no brain when that happens, like, oh, I can recover. It takes 2 or 3 houses to recover from a loss, but you have to be able to take it, right? And that's why, you know, if like I'm spreading my legs really wide open, but I have a husband that has a W-2 job, and I also have a semi because I do interior design for my private clients that supports the loss. So when I lose, I don't do it for another 6 months, and then I sell my service because I do make a lot less money and I work a lot harder. As you know, working with people is different. I love people, but man, some of my clients, I become their psychologist, the marriage counselor, the babysitter, the dog walker. right?
That's normal in this business. Very normal.
Right? And I get married to that family for 6 months to 9 months, right? So when I have a loss, then I diversify. So as realtors, I think it's the same thing. If you have a loss, you need to sell more houses rather than do more flips, right? This is it. Much money.
He's got a microphone. Let's.
Okay, let's, I know some of you have kind of talked about your buy box and I say buy box, meaning now that Shirley and Andrea have been doing flips, they now where they want to be doing their flips. They know what price point they're looking at and all that kind of stuff. For me, I've done 2 flips. One was in Ogden. I decided that was too far. I took too much time driving up and back to Ogden once or twice a week to check in and make sure the contractors are actually there doing the job, you know? And so I decided I didn't want to go that far. So now I'm looking here closer by and yeah, I am. The money question. I'm so sorry.
No,
Okay.
we don't want to share that yet. We've only, yes, we've only sold 4 houses so far, and we have 2 more on the market right now. And so I'd rather those 2 sold before we share that. Yeah.
Okay.
I've made $200,000 on a flip and I've never lost money.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things to learn from Josh.
Yeah. So
When we come over.
I think that's awesome. So my goal is to never lose money because I know as soon as I do, my husband's going to go, I don't think we should do that ever again.
I think the biggest thing that you have to understand though is it's a business, right? Just like anything else, right? Not everybody's going to like your hamburger, right? If you're going to open up a hamburger shop, I mean, McDonald's has had billions and billions of sold, but they've also had a lot of hamburgers come back and say, I didn't ask for pickles. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to, if as an investor, you have to be able to, just like the stock market, you have to do your research, number 1, and number 2, you have to be willing to take a loss.
Right.
$247,000. That's a loss, but you got to understand you're going to the blackjack table. It's a very educated blackjack table, but at the end of the day, the cards could just come out really crappy. Right.
And also Josh complimenting, I don't know your name. I'm sorry. The one who asked the question on the money. Jen, I don't know your situations, but my situation is I borrow this money, right? It's different if you have $1 million sitting at no cost to you fantastic. You have a very wealthy friend that can start that with you, fantastic, because you make the friend an equity partner. So in my case, if I lose big because I am borrowing at 8%, 7%, 10%, 12%. So that's where at any level of property, and especially at my level of property, 2 million, 3 million, which really I try to be under 2 million, but things come as they come, right? It's scary. So that's where you lose a lot.
And for me, I always have like 3 or 4 contingency plans, right? So the number one thing is you got to buy it right. Like everything comes down to buying it right. You could have a house on Redwood Road. If you really want to, you have to buy it correctly in the beginning. And I know that's very cliche to say, but I will tell you right now, that's the number one thing you have to learn if you're going to do that is like I think everybody's had deals that have come across their plate and been like, I'm not going to buy that. Right. I could probably tell you I've turned down 20 times more than I've actually picked up, right? Because it's just not right. You could take a house like these ladies over here have their certain niches and their price point that they've settled on. For me, I'll take any house as long as it makes sense. So again, my real estate business feeds my flip business. I'm not out looking for the flip. So when one comes, like I'm not looking for the unicorn because there's sometimes where I'll take a base hit to make the deal work. But at the same time, like I have to understand, like, number one, am I going to make money on this house? Number two, let's be realistic on what I can sell it for. Number three, like, is there a contingency plan? If you're borrowing money, it becomes very difficult to have a couple contingencies, right? If you're creative in your financing, which I've bought all my houses very creatively. There's been about 2 or 3 that I've actually had a loan on, and everything else has been very creative financing. So I know that if this house doesn't sell for what I want it to sell for, I could rent it.
Okay, what's your creative financing?
So I've been doing a lot of seller finances without seller. Yep. So there's a lot of that I've been doing. That's probably been my most recent. And that's actually how I probably, the first few that I did, I didn't know it was seller finance. I was just like, I'll take over your payments as long as you'll carry the loan. I get onto title, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to make these improvements, and then we're going to go to title company and sell. This is what you're going to get. Anything above that, that's what I get. And that's how I started it. And then now I've gotten into, okay, seller finance, because that's just the cleanest way to do it. And then, so it depends on how you're doing it. I've borrowed money. I've borrowed hard money. I hate hard money because, to be honest with you, the hard money lender makes more than you do. And it's really expensive. So if you're on a shoestring budget, it's probably not the right way to do it. I've taken a traditional loan, right? Because I thought, hey, this is going to be my long-term family cabin up in Eden. And, I took a 30-year loan on it, and it worked out really well for me. But then at the end of the day, it was like, oh, dude, I just got to get rid of this thing. And I got rid of it. Right. So I think ultimately anything you buy, and if you're starting out, like, it's really hard to be like, I'm going to be $1 million flipper. Like, that's a different echelon that I don't even want to be a part of, because, to be honest with you, like, there are certain things that $1 million buyers are looking for, right? Where the $500,000 home in Taylorsville for me is like, that's a great price point for a lot of buyers, right?
Mhm.
I just know whatever improvements I have to make, I have to account for them, and I have to be smart about
All right.
what improvements I make.
Find seller financing. How do you find people that do seller financing?
So 100%, I don't find anything on the MLS. So in my personal belief, my opinion, right? Everything on the MLS is at retail. If you're really going to be a flipper, you got to find deals that aren't on the MLS, right? That nobody knows about. So it's either through an investment group, it's for some realtor. If you have another realtor partner that's like, hey, I'm constantly doing this, and I'm finding these, then they hand those to you. Awesome. For me, I'm on a listing appointment. And it's usually a situation where there's a divorce or there's a financial need, like, and people are like, I don't care what I make on this house. I just need to get out of it. And ultimately they're probably under some sort of time constraint or and I'm like, hey, I can give you X amount of money up front. And then if you be willing to just keep your loan in place, I'll take over your payments. I'll pay the utilities. I'll do this work. Like, just so you know though, but I'm very, because I'm the real estate agent, I'm very upfront with what I'm doing with people. Like, there is no hidden tricks. There's no games that I'm
Be as an agent, right? You
I
get in
write-
trouble if
I
you're
write
not
up
upfront
a
with
document
people.
that says, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I'm going to make improvements on your house. This is what you're going to make. This is anything above that is my goal is to make more money than you. That's my goal. And sometimes they get paid out. They have a ton of equity in their house. Sometimes they make a ton more money than I do, to be honest with you. But I always give them the idea, like, hey, these are the improvements I'm going to make in your house. You can make these improvements and make this much money. And a lot of people are like, I'm not going to do that. I always 100%. And that's fine. And a lot of people will do that. And I give them the option to do that. And I'll list their house and as is. And this is the money you're going to make. And these are all the things. I never walk them down a road where I'm like, I don't think that's a great idea. I think you should just sell it to me. You know, I've never done that, nor will I ever do that. That's just not who I am as a person or how I want to be known in the real estate community. There's people out there though that will be like 100%, like, they're all about how low can I get this person? And I just want it to win for everybody. And that's my game. So
Right, right.
Can
Awesome.
can I just add to what you said? So for me, my realtors are my partners. That's how I'm finding my properties. I think my realtor, Martha, with Sotheby's, that has brought me 6 properties, 2 have been off market because she started advertising. Do you want to sell your house in certain areas for us? And then we got to meet the people, but I have the same person. I believe in karma. Everything you do here goes in a circle, comes right back to you. So be good, be fair, be honest, principled. So I agree with you. Now, I have a case which is interesting. When I buy on the MLS, right? So this is the case right now. There is a home that Martha found through this advertising method, and the older lady has a reversed mortgage on it. And it's almost like I buy mostly estate sales on the MLS, but this case is very interesting because she and I met almost 2 years ago. Will be 2 years in November. So I'm like, really wanting to buy her home, right? Now the market has changed, right? And Martha met with her. She gave the listing to Martha. She wants to list it. She left the home, went to not a nursing home, but one of those assisted facilities. She's only 79, but looks like she's 89.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in poor condition health-wise. So the house is not selling. She wanted 1.5 million. And we're like, Martha, really? She says, that's what she wants. I need to let this roll. Plus, they staged it all, right? I'm like, oh, because she's really degrading. Then she had a heart attack, like when the state sale happened, heart attack, like she was all nervous. Went to her own estate sale, bought back $10,000 off of her own things, and put it in her 2-bedroom assisted living, filled it up with her things. So she is making wrong decisions. So we came to her, and she knows me because I was there almost 2 years ago. And just last week, came to her and said, you are making, I literally said, very bad decisions. Here is the deal, okay? I can pay the most for your home because these are my numbers, 1.1. That's what I can pay for your home. I can't pay you 1.1 now. And I don't know, you don't believe that your home is only worth 1.1. So let's do this, Okay, I'll give you 800,000 that carries you to your reverse mortgage. You settle, which is 740. The rest, you have 1 year of payments to your nursing or not nursing home. The thing it's super expensive where she's at as well, like $6,000 a month, something ridiculous. That takes care of you. I only need about 4 months to turn your property, right? And then if I sell your property for 2.1, you get 1.1. If I sell for 2.2, you get this, and so on. We made the little scale, right? She is not having it either. So she has until end of December because she needs to pay the reverse mortgage. We know she's in trouble. So I said, your deadline of December is my deadline of December, but let's make it 10 days earlier than your deadline and let it sit there. You know, I cannot do something that is not good for me either, but this is your only and best deal. Your home is not going to sell and the bank will possess it, right? So think about it. So I'm like you, I try, but I do find deals on the MLS because I count on you to bring me the deals. Like let's say you find something that's scary for you,
Oh, yeah.
bring it to me. Like I'll pass on that bill. What do you think?
300 days. And it is the weird house or the scary house or the meth house or the someone died and whatever it is, right? Like we can't figure that out, but it's just researching it every day. It's not just like all of a sudden one day this thing pops up on the MLS and you're like, oh, hey, it's this great deal. It's looking at it day in, day out, looking
Every
and
case is a case.
every house is different. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so one thing that I've noticed, because I've been scouring MLS for properties for over a year now, and I finally bought one in Taylorsville back in February, got it done on the market, we're under contract, okay? Now I know Taylorsville, and I can look at a house and what square footage it is and where it is, and I'm going, okay, well, if I fixed it up, it would be worth this much money. And that's one reason that you want to focus in on an area, because you can't know every area, right? You just can't.
I don't
And
even know how to get the Taylor's.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
I want to stay away because, I can't compete. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have the mindset for Taylor's.
right, right. And so like I said, Ogden, I'm not even looking there anymore because I don't want to travel. So as you look around and you start doing things, then you find what it is you want to do, where you want to do it. You get to know the community, you get to know the houses, and you look at the homes that are remodeled and flipped and what they're going for, what the flippers actually did, what they didn't do. And then you have a much better idea of, if you did this and you paid this much money and you get bids, get under contract, get bids. If you can't buy it for that much money that you thought you were going to be able to buy it for, then you have to renegotiate your contract. And if you can't do that, then don't buy the house because you'll lose money on the house. So it has to be numbers and not emotion that drives your decisions. And sometimes we get emotional about wanting to do a house and how amazing it could look, all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's not just fun to remodel a house. It's also stressful. There's kind of blood, sweat, and tears that get involved sometimes. And it can be super challenging. So would you all agree with that?
And
yeah.
also, I mean,
Hey,
I can
microphone,
see, I have such a loud voice. I don't know.
We've got to record it.
Yeah, we are good at. Right. So, I can feel you are very nice, but the majority of our flipping community is flipping bad. They don't share, you're hiring this awful roofer. They know they've been conned by this roofer and they're like, she's going to hire him. I would totally, I think we need to be more community minded, right? Everybody is there to make some money, but if it's all about the money, I don't know, it's not about the money for me.
You need to have quality
Right.
in your work.
Exactly. You have to have pride, principle, have to like people. Yeah, I agree with you.
flooring and it's all in level and then you put your name on it and somebody sees it in the industry.
It will come back to bite you. They can sue you for 5 years. You know that, right? There's 5 years for them to come after you if you do something that you knew, and obviously you can't say you didn't because you were building the house.
Right there, right? Like,
Yeah,
million
Yeah.
somewhere that wasn't saved. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So that's my rule of thumb when I do it. Worst case scenario, I don't want the audit to be, see if I have to live there.
Yeah,
Okay.
let you live there. I like that.
Yeah, so my standard is if I have to live there, is it gonna be okay? And we're having to live there. So I wondered if there's any arguing with the city. Have you guys found a way?
We make really good cookies and cookies.
And remember, the city is minimal. The code enforcement is minimal. That is the minimal, right?
can only do-
So if you're not even doing the minimum, right? I don't know.
The city that I'm working with is Kearns, and it's on. Okay, sorry. So it's Kearns, and they're wanting us to dig out the basement because it's a 1960 house. They're wanting us to make the basement 7 feet tall and dig into the foundation, but they have made no one in a 1.5-mile radius do this.
It's code, right? So
Yeah.
I can explain that because when you touch 20% more, that's the rule of thumb. And this is nationwide, not only Utah or Kearns or
Yeah, I
Salt
prefer
Lake
not
City.
to run this lesson again.
Yeah.
So
it's 20 if it's 20, you're touching more than 20% of the home, you are bound to new code for certain categories. Probably the basement fits into that. If you're only touching 20%, if you're touching 50%, nothing is grandfathered in. It's all new code. Nothing.
okay.
Well, when you file for a permit, right, and what you're doing, they will take that square footage, say what you're renovate. Oh, I'm changing the windows, I'm taking this wall, I don't know, right? And they will literally count that square foot.
Okay, so you're pulling permits then, right?
Here is my honest recommendation, okay? It is a pain in every builder's, general contractor, designer's butt, flippers, to pull the permits. Some people will say the delay that the city causes me is worth paying the fine, right? I am very concerned because I have other stories to share privately, not to take so much time, where I did a deal with a realtor that was a 55% partner. I don't know why I did that deal because it was my money and my expertise, but she brought the property, and it was structured 55-45. So I had very little sanction, no pulling permits. And we changed it. Well, you have to pull permits if you change your furnace. That's the law, right? Not to mention a roof and this. I'm like, okay, City of Holiday. Everything went super, okay, super. We finished the project, put the house in the market, and then the realtor of the buyer went to the city.
To see if they pull the permits, yeah.
And they came back, the city fined us $50,000. Okay, so we lost 70, not lost, didn't make, between us was 50 on the fine.
50?
Huh?
50?
Yeah, 50,000, sorry, my
Wow.
pronunciation, 50 and 3 zeros after that. And then another 25,000 she negotiated on behalf of the buyer because the buyer, okay, what else is a problem? There was no problem. So again, it depends on the city, and they find us, the 50,000 was generated, but everything had like a fine, the roof and this and that and then, and I was like, right? So I have done homes like in Cottonwood Heights, where I just did interior renovation, it was cosmetic. I didn't paint, I did nothing. I did change the roof and the some position of plumbing, so I wasn't right, right? I knew I was pushing it. Again, same situation. Everything was perfect, perfect. Put the home in the market. When we were under contract in the home, the neighbor went to the city and complained about the Kelvin on our exterior lanterns, right? The city went in and like, where are your permits? And I said, you know, I didn't pull any permits. And they said, well, we have a problem. I said, well, yes and no, because this was cosmetic. So I had photos before and after. There was a wall I took down, so I kind of finagled that to my advantage, right? Because I knew the fine was coming, and I was only fined $1,800,
Okay.
right? Because they also were pushing it. Oh, you changed the roof. I'm like, tell me in the ordinance of the city where there is a roof permit. So you have to know. You have to, when you're caught, you
Yeah.
need to become your own lawyer, right? Because you know you're wrong. Now your defense is slap me, but how much you will slap me, I'm going to go back what the ordinances are. Right?
Now, when I flipped in Ogden, they had to have a roof permit.
Oh, you see, not Cottonwood Heights.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. See, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, again, if I don't feel now that I'm more seasoned in additions, you know, I've graduated into doing additions. I know a lot more as a general contractor of the rules because the general contracting course is bullshit. I'm sorry using this word in camera. It's a bunch of laws, doesn't teach you anything that is important. You learn by doing. So you
That's
learn
the
by
realtor course.
shadowing your engineer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Without joining a community like Keller Williams and learning, we don't have one. So we have to shadow our engineers and learn like that. So now that I have a very good grasp of what I can do, what I cannot do. And I would recommend you always pull a permit, always. You are working right, you're working well, they won't delay you. They're actually pretty good. The worst city would be Salt Lake City because they don't have a dedicated inspector for you. It's like the flare of the day, and even drunk people come to your inspections. Like, whoa, right? But even the drunk ones, you know, are fat next day. So they have like a 24-hour, right? But you have to do things right. Problem is sometimes you don't know and you do things wrong. And then you have to correct what they are looking at and call them again. And that's where the delay comes. But honestly, I try to pull permits as much as I can because it is really bad when you get caught.
okay. Josh, you were going to say something?
Inspectors are not your friends. They're not there to help you. They're there to just enforce you.
Yes. But they can be nice with a cookie. I agree.
Yeah.
Nope. Not the Kearns case.
Queso, I give them.
Not American Fork. You can give them as many cookies as you want, and they are just jerks. And they could care less that you have money on the line. They could care less that you're helping somebody out. They could care less that you don't know what you're doing, and you've never flipped a house before, and I don't know what I'm
Sounds
doing
like you have
here.
experience in American Fork.
I've got experience in Kearns, American Fork, Eden, Weber County, you name it, I've done it.
But the National Association of Home Builders, I'm part of the Salt Lake, the Park City, those two that I can manage. Like I said, so many associations, right? I'm in a committee to try to influence that. And by the way, the word flippers, don't use it. Remodeler, transformer, do not say flipper, because the moment they say flipper, and because some flippers have done honestly horrendous things, then they look at you like you are the Satan.
Yes.
And they're there to exercise you.
I'm glad you said that because when I've talked to realtors to negotiate purchase like this one I am doing or have done, I did not use that word when I called them. I said, I really am excited to get in there and I really want to just make it a beautiful home for some new family in the community, you know? And I didn't
This is
say
the truth.
flipping this house. I just said, this is what I want to do. And I beat out the other offers that he had from flippers. So anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transformer, remodeler, rehabilitator, passionate for transforming how anything, but no flipper.
Yeah.
in that word.
And the other thing on permits, my permits through Taylorsville, it took 3 weeks before we heard back from them and they had the wrong information. Then it took another 3 weeks to get the permit. So I'm 6 weeks at hard money and my hard money is costing me like $1,000 a week.
Amen to this.
Yeah.
This is why Shirley and I have not pulled permits. So this
Okay.
story that she just told us is very interesting.
And my contractors say they always pull permits, but after that, he said, it's never taken me more than a few days to get a permit. He said, if I do another one in Taylorsville, I may just not pull permits.
Yes.
You don't pull permits and then you have it refinished. If and then you have a buyer, can't they sue you if something goes wrong and you didn't pull the permit?
No, they can't sue you, but they will ask for a discount for sure.
Because what if we didn't fix that item?
Asking if they buy the house. Find out a permit wasn't pulled.
Yeah. Something went
Right,
wrong.
but if
long
we
as-
didn't
the house
fix
like
the
it caught on
HVAC,
fire
the
because
HVAC
of
blows
something
up,
you
that's not because
refinished.
we did that.
Seller disclosure, seller
Sue you if you
disclosure,
said that you pulled the
seller
permit and you didn't.
disclosures.
Right. Shirley is very, yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Just make sure that when you're doing your seller disclosures, that you say every single item you did. Because then they can't come back on you and say, well, my gas line is leaking but I'm looking at him going, we didn't have any gas in the house.
happened to us
This house
week.
is all electric. And so we had mini splits, everything. And all of that was done with the contractor before us because we bought the house half finished.
Yes.
And so just make sure, and I disclosed on the disclosures, we have no gas in the house. We have not had anything to do with the gas, blah, blah, blah. But now he says there's a gas leak. And so he said, you could be sued for this. And I said, probably not, because I didn't have anything to do with the house. And I disclosed to you that we didn't touch the gas. So you just have to be really, really clear.
Okay. Any other things you guys want to tell us? Like what, even with all the problems you've mentioned, right? Why are you still flipping houses?
Did you say, why would you?
Why are you still doing it?
It's just like anything else, right? You're taking the good with the bad. You're taking your lessons learned every day. It's just like any other job, right? Like sometimes your job is hard and you don't want to go to work. And that's Shirley and I can probably say that right now. Our job is really hard right now. And we are learning lots of lessons, but we are not going to quit. We're going to keep going because we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I have kids I need to give houses to, right? Help them. So your why has got to be bigger than, oh my gosh, this sucks so bad because this gas leak guy just called. Or because now we got busted for the permits, or the neighbor's RV is so big the house isn't selling. So your why, you have to just remember why you're doing it every day.
Another thing that you look at is the end buyer. You know, you want to make a nice house for them, you know? So yeah.
We want to bring value to the neighborhood.
Oh,
Yeah, bring value to the neighborhood, and we want to help people. That's the other thing too, is like he's saying, like he's got sellers that need help. Like we love to help people. Yeah, if you know people that need help, we want to help them every day. That's
Yeah.
why we are in this industry, right? So
Also, every time I have a tough inspector, a tough city, I give my speech, my emotional speech to them. I said, we are elevating a neighborhood, right? Or when you have tough neighbors, because in higher end areas, people are so entitled, right? I mean, I'm like, I don't know where these people come from. I have people telling me not to park on the road in front of their home. I'm like, excuse me. I don't say the road is public because that's now not how you make neighbors friends, right? But like, so entitled. And the city is very entitled. I go, do you realize that we are raising a neighborhood, meaning raising taxes that actually pay your salary? But I say this in a very nice, compelling way. And they're like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. So when I got my home ready to list, I sent 100 letters out to the neighbors and said, I know everybody's been curious about this house and what's been going on. We're going to have a special open house just for the neighbors on Saturday at 10. Bring your friends and come and see the house and check it out. And I got so many neighbors through the house and they were all so happy to come through. But neighbors are so curious and they'll just walk in. You're not there. The contractor's got the door open. They walk in and check the house out. We really should have a thing for them to sign that says, if I get injured at your house,
I love this. Because they do. They think you're-
it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Because you
Wanna
can
use
have
your
no complaints and a
dumpster.
big hole in the floor.
Oh,
Just
I
no
even
complaints.
I offered, make peace. Oh, you can throw this there. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, it's a huge mattress.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
10 pounds.
Okay, Josh, you were going to say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to say something. Okay.
Definitely do.
I was going to
That's the
say the
best
house
way
that
to
we're
make
flipping right
neighbors
now,
friends.
all of the neighbors had already been through by the time we got it, and the house was condemned. It was the weird house. We learned. So, but yeah, they all had already been through. So when we started working on it, they came over and they're like, "Hey, we noticed that you had this ladder in this room on this floor, and it's yellow, and I want it." So crazy. It's definitely the weird house.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
Okay. Just to kind of wrap up, did you want to say? No? Okay. Bia was really kind to send me a presentation where she goes through a couple of her properties that she has and has some numbers about what she's listed and how she's had to do some price reductions and things. So this is a real world example that she's going to show. So I'm going to pull up her properties. Oh, this one that you see up here is one that Shirley and Andrea bought. And I actually had buyers at the time that this was on the market. Yeah, I had buyers and I saw this house before they bought it and flipped it. And I was so excited when they bought it. I was like, oh, that's so cool that I saw the house before because my clients were like, yeah, we love the location, we love the house, but we can't afford all the cost of fixing that house up. And so that's why we never offered on it. But I do have what they've done to it. But this is the
Love to see it. I can see
Yeah.
nothing. Is that
Yeah, I
okay?
love
No,
doing
you
this.
can.
Yes. they
Totally do that.
Yeah.
So this is the exterior now compared to this one.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
right?
Such a small house, but it's not.
Can I just make a comment on something you just said?
Yeah.
So Lisa went through and took clients through a home, right? And I think this is the number one rule in flipping, right? And you said, hey, my clients really like the location. They really liked everything about the home. They just could not afford the improvements, right? So that's what flippers do. That's what investors do. When you remodel a home, right? Your number one goal is to do the things that people normally can't afford. If you want to make money doing this, have everything done that is going to cost somebody more money to do. So, for example, painting the exterior, people will automatically go in there and psychologically go, that's $20,000. And you're like, it's $5,000. I could do that for $5,000, right? You're like, oh, the flooring all needs to be replaced. That's $30,000 through the house. And you're like,
Oh, you do that for 10.
that's 10, right? And you're like, okay. Oh, the kitchen needs to be completely remodeled. Oh my gosh. And you're like, countertops are $2,500 and the cabinets are like $7,500. Okay, like da. So like at the end of the day, like just do the things that people don't want to do themselves. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Or have to spend cash on after the property is sold. So I always do a inspection, number one first, right? And I'm like, get an inspection done. And then I'm like, all right, everything in here needs to be fixed. Roof, furnace, all these different things. And then it goes into the design thing of flooring, paint, and all that stuff.
This is the out floor. We've got a wall right here. And a wall.
Clever.
Got a beautiful fireplace.
The kitchen was orange and brown. It was beautiful.
Kind of had a really awkward thing with the floor plan at the kitchen area right there. Remember that?
I'm gonna step down.
We-
that stepped
Mhm.
down and it was just kind of strange. See all the old cabinetry, this is what it is now. Isn't that gorgeous? Really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna get out of this and I'm gonna turn our time over to Mia. And this is her.
I did not bring you before and after. So, but the stories here are interesting. So this property came to us from one of our realtors, and it's in a very exciting location. So guys, your all realtors, eyes on the prize here. It is a lot below appraisal value right now. So I'll tell you about these decisions and these exits, right? What we did to it was a 1983, really, really, really bad. The price was okay for the condition. We went through the seller's disclosures, we did our inspection, but we missed one big thing. The sellers had disclosed a water problem with the house that was fixed, right? And we kind of, let to our realtor stock, our realtor with the other realtor. The general contractor, here's the general contractor information. He came in and he dug this and there was 12 and he put French drain and everything. Here's my big mistake with this house, okay? There is still money to be made in the house. Not that is a complete lemon, but we spent $200,000 more than our estimated renovation value because he had thrown the rock, but he had not done French drains. He's done a partial French drain system, which is completely different and not what the house needed. And on the most critical part where water was coming in without a geological survey, which meant for anybody with water problems, you can call me because now I'm a super expert after $200,000, that when you fix one problem in one part, but not fully, water will find its way. So we were in the middle of the basement. We did an addition. So obviously we had straps, we had footings, right? And in the middle of winter, and we're like, oh my God, we hit a well? What is this, right? And we had terrible, terrible, terrible problem to solve. That pushed us, we had this money into the property, we had this leeway, but ate into our gains. And we're looking at massive gains there. That would be outdoing my 295,000, right? So I'm like, okay, we can make 300,000 maybe after we pay all our, everything. So if you go back to the first picture, this is the house finished. It's in Little Cottonwood Lane. It's right in front of the Lakai lots, right? Very difficult to comp land, and because there's nothing remotely, it's a unicorn to comp, right? So the other issue is that if you go down now, then I will talk about the finishes, but if you go down, one more please, just move down to the numbers, more down, right? Look at this, guys. So our realtor very strongly believed that we could sell at 2.6. Like, wow, if we sell at 2.6, we are really rock and rolling. This would be awesome. And then you see the date in June. In July, we can't sit on our properties. We have to be realistic, right? We came to the realtors and said, we need to lower this price. Why? We're not realtors, but we haven't had any showings. None. There's something wrong here. And we know, let's lower. What do you think we should lower? Because I'm counting on her and she's comping again, looking at the market, right? But the thing is, we all have to take responsibility. The market was trending down in June and July, right? Very rapidly at high end, very rapidly. So we went down, not enough. Had we gone to maybe at that time at our 2.2 mark, we would have sold it. But we didn't. So we moved very slow. That's another problem there, right? So today it is priced at 2 million. We just moved it again. If it doesn't sell at 2 million, I am not going to take a loss. My strategy is to hold it. I have a DSCR loan in it, and I will rent it because it's an STR ready area. I have an ADU permission and an STR license, right? And then I'm going to have to put, a lot more into it, about 20 grand to make it STR ready and rent, hopefully, the heck out of it during the winter to offset my costs, and then in the summer put it for sale again. I'll take it off market. But at 2 million, if you have any clients, please show this house because it is a snatch, honestly. It is at Little Cottonwood Lane. There it is. I don't remember the MLS number, but it's on the other slide. So 3787 East Little Cottonwood Lane. Now, if you go back to the finishes, no, it has a hot tub at the back. Doesn't have, it's a 0.29 acres. And the pool factor there is a no-no. You can have a hot tub or a swim spa, but I can explain the geological conditions there. Once you dig, right, you will disturb all that water. We have an aquifer. It's sitting on top of everything that runs off of Little Cottonwood Canyon. So imagine, have this picture of this thing floating, right? That's what it is. Not a problem now, but don't dig.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
In a million years, would you have ever gone, I'm going to buy this house, and then been like, I needed a geological survey? In a million years, would you have ever said, this could be a problem?
So the numbers didn't work well to remodel the home in its current footprint. We needed to add the beautiful master bedroom, bathroom, closet. We needed to do an addition, right? Had I known what I know today, I wouldn't, because my numbers, well, there was still gap there. So at 2 million, I'm still okay, right? At 2 million, but it took me 9 months, right?
So my question is we all go through our analysis. We all go and say, we got this fancy spreadsheet. We're going to add an addition. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, and countertops. And I've gone through my Pinterest board about 1,000 times, and I'm going to do a mid-century modern, all this other stuff. Did you ever in your analysis go, it could be sitting on an aquifer, and probably, if I dig here, I may or may not have a French drain, and my contractor has never done a French drain, and now I'm like a $200,000 more into this thing. Did that ever cross your mind?
No, because that was a big fault of everybody, right? When there is water, this is what you do, right?
But did you realize there was water there?
Yeah, it was in the disclosures that it was fixed.
Yeah.
There was water that entered the basement, very much like this. Water. By the way, in terms of suing, I could go back and definitely sue, but I am not going to throw good money after bad money, right? And the answer to your question is, had I known, I would have factored that in. I would have. I would still do it because I had a good spread there.
Yeah.
I would still do it, but more, I would say, wouldn't cost 200,000 because I was already upfronting the problem and knowing that I had to dig 9 feet the entire perimeter of the home. I had to have a geological survey. I had to know where put my French drain pipes that I have now, my 2 sump pumps as an extra just in case, so I would have known that. The problem is that we did things not knowing that. And when the problem showed up, we had to undo things to do that.
So I'm glad we just talked you guys all out of flipping, right? Flipping is no longer on your guys' to-do list. You have zero desire to do it. Congratulations. Realization made. Stick stay out of it. There's nothing, there's no money in this.
Passive income by
No,
no
but
means.
I think at the end of the day, I think if you are going to flip homes, if you are going to do some certain things to a home, right? You have to understand that everything's situational. You could have all the spreadsheets in the world. You could have all the design background and all of the I watch HGTV, right? You're gonna have a contractor problem. You're gonna have a city problem. You're gonna have these things happen, and they are most likely never thought of. I had a cabin up in Eden. I was like, this is a great deal. I looked at the spreadsheet, everything's good. The winter of 2021 happened. Do you guys remember that? Right? So my contractor says, I can't work here. And I said, what are you talking about, man? He goes, I can't get into the driveway. I had a 21-foot wall of ice on our driveway because the snow plows had come by and shot snow, and then it freezes overnight. So that we're like, okay, what do we have to do? I had to go get a bulldozer and clear the freaking driveway every week. Then the snow fell. I just put on $80,000 of decks, and then I had a snow load that took my $80,000 of decks off. And we went and had geological surveys done of because it was on a mountainside. We had Hercules piers put in. Guess what? Those things just sunk real quick. So I have to, you know what I'm saying? So what I want to say is like, hey, like there's a lot of shows out there that make it look glamorous,
Believe those.
right? And everyone's like, I'm a realtor. I know what everybody wants. Dude, I can probably go in there and do this. You have to expect the unexpected, right?
Always learning, right?
I-
Always, you have to be humble because, man, when you think oh, maybe I can make 300,000, that would be great.
Yeah. And the other point in that is like I had a place down in American Fork. I flipped a turn of the century home, right? And there's plaster on it, and I'm like, I know there's brick behind that wall, exposed brick. I had this big idea there's going to be exposed brick. We get in there, I start smashing the plaster off. I'm like, brick is awesome. Guess what the brick was? It was mud, adobe brick, mud from the Utah Lake from 1911, right? And we went like this, and the brick started crumbling. And then we were like, oh crap, replaster. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's things that you could have all the spreadsheets in the world, right? We could go through all these different classes and be like, this is the right move, and this is the right move, and this is the right move. You got to expect the unexpected, and and it's never the same over and over again.
Surely, I'm with you there. So just to give you an idea, this is in a I'm following this guy because this is a realtor's property and he was following me with his pricing. He is, if you know Wasatch as you pass 9400, so I am by Little Cottonwood Lane. He is just where the goats are. There's like a goat, kind of little goat mini farm. He's up in an HOA there. And I visited this house, and this is the sad thing. Mine is fully remodeled. This one is not, right? And I am at the same price. It's relatively the same size. Different location. I think my location is better. But again, if I'm the seller, right? With known emotion, I need to sell this property. That's as low as I will go. And I'm saddened that that is my comparison or my, how do you call it? My competition. Yeah. You can see from the finishes as well. When you are at 2.7 million, there are a lot of things that you do. So if you don't mind, Lisa, go back to my photos, right? I just compared bathrooms. I need to compare something to show you the difference. This is not even my master, right? These are my bathrooms. Did they cost as much as the other bathroom? Yes, from the house that is my competition. If you go now to the other bathroom, sorry, this is kind of weird the way I did this. Yes, no, sorry, my competition is, I didn't put bathrooms in my competition. Yes, I did, sorry, next one up. Right, you see? But the difference between being an interior designer, and that's where I leverage the interior design. And this is what I'm telling you guys when you look at interior designers like, my wife can design. I really get upset when I hear that because it is a freaking profession. We go to school for that. We have to have, people have innate good taste and they can leverage that, but it's very different than you having learned what to do for the same price. So interiors designers do offer value in the design. You can leverage that. So his bathroom and his kitchen cost the same amount of mine, but it looks completely more upscale what we've done than to what, and you're welcome to walk both homes. I think it would be a great exercise, and I would even meet you and show you the difference, right? And it is perceived. It is perceived in the flooring, it is perceived in how you finish your wall, in your baseboards, right? In the type of paint you offer. There is a lot in high end, like above 1.5 million, you need to be at that league and use an interior designer. So really, when you go and you are flipping and you are doing what I am doing, consider partnering up with a designer. Doesn't need to be me, can be anybody else, but you will need it, right? And I also put the price changes of this house. This is, I don't know whose house that is, but it was remodeled, right? And at the 1 million mark, this is also, I can see a suffering there because above 800,000, you have all this conventional loan that it's changed to jumbo loans, right? I hope my verbiage is correct for the realtors. And for these people to qualify now is harder to upgrade. So everything that was doing also very well 3 months ago is sucking, right? And I absolutely detest going beyond a 2 million mark because I know it needs to sit in the market, in a good market for 3 to 6 months. Now I don't know. I really don't know. And we are all dumbfounded, scratching our heads like, how can this not sell? It is appraised at 2.4 million. And it's an appraisal for a DSCR loan, which is, you know, it's low, right? And it's not selling at 2 million. What the F is going on, right? So I don't know, right? And nobody knows. But anyway, to conclude, there is more learning. We are always learning. We are always relating to each other, listening to stories, trying to better ourselves, right? There is this, Lisa and I are part of the Salt Lake RIA. They are having a bus tour. There's a flyer for you there. I really highly recommend, if you're serious about going, you're going to see flips, you're going to meet people. I will be there as well. I think it's, I love Jim Collins with that thing, you know. You take the bus, but you need to take the right seat, and the bus needs to be going to the right place. Otherwise, it doesn't work,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, and we have to end, but actually I talked to the president of Slaria and he gave KW a $10 discount. That's even less than the members of Slaria are paying to go on the bus tour. So this flyer, that code is probably not, oh yeah, it's got 89 on there. Okay, yep. It's just what you need. So if you're interested in more education and actually going out to flip sites and on the bus to see what other flippers are doing, do that. Right now we got to adjourn. We have our ALC meeting here in this spot. So let's have everybody help set up for that. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, panelists. I appreciate you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Yes, let's chat. Yes, for sure. No.